Diggers, welcome back to the Preaching Humanist with David Oliverio, that is I. There's a reason that within the Christian movement, there are several churches that are actually increasing in growth exponentially. They're called the non-denominational megachurches. We see the data that more and more Americans are leaving traditional churches. Some are letting go of belief in a God and becoming atheists or agnostics and secular humanists. I like that. But most of them that leave these traditional churches don't necessarily become unbelievers. Many of them change and go to what I call the large mega churches, the non-denominational churches. Now, why is this occurring? Why are they so appealing to so many people? There are many answers to this question. It's a big question. And can we, as secular humanists, apply and make their system applicable to our communities? Does it work? Now, I've got two major megachurches in my community, in my neighborhood down here in this part of the city of Austin, Texas. And I notice that every Sunday morning, I look out for stuff like this. Every Sunday morning, their parking lots are completely full. They have over parking lots. They have extra parking lots across the street to house and accommodate all the people that come there. They have 2 to 3 services. They have 400 or 500 people per service on Sundays. They have people coming and going all week long. Different activities in that mega church. They have a system that works and that appeals to human nature. Now, I went into one of these churches last week. I used to go in and talk to him all the time. I had to go into the one down the street here. I took pictures of the auditorium, to their new building auditorium, their second auditorium. I took pictures of the signs inside, the large screen TVs, all the technology, the restaurant, the breakfast taco stand, the coffee shops they have, everything. The bands, the instruments. They know how to keep and attract people. Now, this particular church has a sign in their front window. Love everybody, all the time. What a concept. I agree. The difference is love to these people who believe in God, in Christians. To them, the love derives from God. And of course, under that quote of love, they have the scriptures to love thy neighbor as thyself. No greater love has a man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend, right? God is love and all that. We agree about love. All humans have it. But we say it comes from humanity as a social animal. Now, this concept of love, they're teaching their people to reach out and love everybody. You are welcome here. You are loved here. Now, back in 1983, that's a long time ago, I had started preaching in 1976 when I was 19 years old. I worked for my father. He was a senior pastor. I was the staff evangelist. I traveled, taught and preached in different churches, teaching them how to win souls for Jesus, how to increase numbers to their churches. That's what I did. I want to do the same thing now for the humanist communities. There's a way to do that, but it takes people that understand that concept of how to get people in and make it appealing. Christianity has mastered that part of it. It's just humanism. They don't understand that. Now, that church I started in 1983, I called it New Wine Christian Fellowship. A nice Pentecostal charismatic flavor to it, because I was a Pentecostal preacher. But I preached and taught love and acceptance. We opened our arms. We went out to the community and did things. We knocked on doors and were kind and loving to people. I put up little signs that Jesus is love, God loves everybody, the whole thing, right? People want that. They need that. We all crave that. Now, do we have that in our communities? I'd like to see us pursue that more. Let me use use an example of a couple back in 1983. I met them on the street. I won them to Jesus Christ. They were helped by an agency in Waco, Texas, and they were given a small apartment to live in. They were very poor. They were hungry. They fit the criteria for the gospel of Jesus, right? Their names were Faith and Hal. Faith and Hal came to the church I started for 2 years. I used to pick them up every Sunday morning. They felt loved. They felt accepted. Now, back then, I believed this was all the presence of God. I misinterpreted this feeling, this drive in me and in others as God. Little did I know it was just human. But Faith and Hal told me often, David, Pastor David, I am loved here. This is my family. I belong here. Thank you for accepting us, even though we live down the street, even though we are poor. We can't offer anything to anyone else. You help us all the time. They were there because they were loved. Now, I went into a mega church in North Austin last year prior to COVID-19. And I was interviewing individuals. I approached 3 women, and they were probably in their 30s, kind of my kid's age. And I said, ladies, what is so appealing about this large church? Now, this was in the lobby between services. They had 3 services, 400 or 500 people per service, right? And you had excitement, you had music in the background, bands playing, a festive atmosphere, which I want to see in our communities. And they have sermons, right? And I asked them, ladies, what is so appealing about this place? And they told me, oh my gosh, sir, we have everything that we need. Our children are off in classes with their friends. Our husbands are in the men's Bible study. We go to the women's groups. We have good music. We have friends. We have food, festival. We have a potluck. Yes, I want to see that too in our communities. A potluck following the service. Throughout the week, we have community. We have women's groups. We go out and feed homeless people. We have classes and home cell groups. Everything that we need, our family, our loved ones, our community is here. Plus, we have a motivational speaker, our preacher, who tells us and he reminds us to go out and be good like Jesus, right? They have something. They have something that motivates and attracts people to a community. Now, I'm an atheist, as you can see. I'm a secular humanist. I believe we can apply the same concept in our groups. And they also have something else, which I just mentioned. Sure, they have the human love. They show all that. Sure, they do that. Sure, they put signs up. But also, they have someone with great passion and knowledge how to motivate their people. They call them sheep. We don't call them sheep. To action. They're unashamed. Christians have an advantage in an area, and I'll tell you what it is. They gather together on Sundays. They have a gentle reminder, a reinforcement to go out and to live good lives. Sure, they know about being good. We know how to be good. It's in us as humans. But they are reminded, hey, let's go out and do good things. Let's make a better world. Let's love people. Let's be kind, compassionate. That's the same message in humanism, but without a God. Do we need someone to preach to us and tell us how to be good? Not necessarily. But these gentle reminders to go out and do something for the community to make the world better. Now, we don't have enough of that. And those of us that come from the preaching background and we begin to give secular sermons, there are some unbelievers that don't like that. I think we need that. I think it's a good thing. Something else they have that we can learn from. They are unashamed and unabashed to promote their message. They have a message of hope. They have a message of love. They have a message of joy. They say it's from a God. They want to go out and transform lives through the love of a God. Very similar in secular humanism. But the difference is here, many of us are ashamed. Many of us are unaware that we have a progressive philosophy, a worldview, a life stance, a human-centered worldview called secular humanism, and some even call it a religion, that has a message of hope, that has a message of love, that has a message of faith, of course, not belief faith, but trust faith in humanity. We have a message which sounds a little Christian, but it's in the realm of reality. We need these communities that I promote and push for and try to encourage, that are unashamed to take the message of secular humanism, to teach the affirmations of humanism, to teach the Humanist Manifesto, to teach the principles of ethics and morals through humanism, to teach how to go out and reach people with human love, human compassion. A group that promotes the scientific method. A group that promotes freedom and equality for all people, whether you believe in a God or not. A group that promotes the well-being of all people and the decreasing of suffering. We have a wonderful worldview and philosophy in secular humanism, but the majority of us are ashamed to promote it. We can learn from these mega churches, minus all the baggage and thorns and thistles from the Bible. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the good stuff they do, the community, and all the things I've listed in this episode and the previous episode. We have a message of hope. We have a message of love, and we can attract people to these groups. We must let people know who we are, what we do believe, not just what we don't believe. I'm an atheist, but all that means is I don't have any faith or belief in a God. Secular humanism is above and beyond that. Let's consider building and establishing these groups. And we can take some of the things that have already been proven in these large mega churches. And there are actually people in these churches that have many doubts. Some of them are this close to becoming atheists or agnostics or secular humanists. I talk to them. I've been in there. I've talked to people. I talk to them every weekend with activism, with signs, every Saturday morning. They're out there. Let's be unashamed. Let's promote. Let's talk. Let's let the light of secular humanism shine. Have a wonderful day.
What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
No, you're done.